to the new government. It was not presented to the transition committee.
Okay.
The handover notice, what we are working on now. Once that is over, we have full information, and Governor Fayemi has enough to base his own judgment and priorities on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Ekiti State is known as the fountain of knowledge. What are the plans regarding education? Ekiti is one of the states in Nigeria we know does not joke with education, because the greatest number of professors in this country come from Ekiti State, and that is still a fact.
Yes. Well, thank you for that compliment. Social investment is one of the pillars on which we are going to run. Education is part of our investment in the people. In his first time in office, Governor Fayemi renovated all the public primary schools in the state, and we keep them with instructional materials and books. Going forward, we discovered that in the last 4 years, things have gone very bad. And the first thing he did when he came to office is the first executive order he signed is to abrogate all the legal levies in the educational sector, which was signed this week. Because we discovered that Ekiti State now, either before October 16, had the highest rate of people's dropout from school, the highest in the Southwest, because of that educational levy. It may look small, but you must consider the capacity to pay on the side of the parents. So in education, first thing we are going to do now is we are assessing the state of education in the state, vis-a-vis both the infrastructure and the human resource requirements. We are going to embark on training and retraining of teachers. We are going to look at curriculum development. We are going to look at the psyche of the students themselves. Just 2 days ago, the governor just released 200 million naira as housing loans to workers. So once we're able to motivate them, then we look at the instrument through which they are being taught, and we provide the right environment for education to thrive. We believe that education will come up, but that is just an aspect of it, because when you look at the primary education, secondary and tertiary, the tertiary education too is in a state of disrepair. We just released money for them to embark on accreditation of courses at the State University. I just released.
A lot has happened in 4 days.
Yes, I just released it yesterday.
Wow.
Myself and the senator, we left him 4:30 a.m.
Yeah, 4:30 a.m. on Thursday.
On Thursday.
But that was on Friday morning, actually.
Yes, Friday morning. Yeah. We left the office 4:30 a.m. He walks on.
We walked around. So it's a tough one.
So education, because Ekiti is, as you said, is reputed for knowledge, and we want to go back to that past.
Well, let me quickly give.
Sorry. Before I forget this,
Yeah.
Are you talking about free education? And if you are, up to what level?
Free education is to the secondary level in the states.
Okay.
Free education is not new. It's a policy of APC. I'm serious. It's the policy of a party. So we have an APC government. So it's giving. But apart from education being free, the infrastructure, the psyche of the teachers, and they must be remunerated. So you can have a free education in an environment that's not conducive. So the policy must be matched with what is on ground, and the environment through which the student is going to learn. So it's a policy of a party. So we don't even see that as a big deal as far as we are concerned.
Okay. Senator.
Senator, before you come in, just to inform our DSTV viewers that we're going to be taking a stint to the Army event that's going on in the northern part of Nigeria, but we'll continue the conversation here on Sunrise Daily. Do stay with us.
So Sunrise.
Yes.
Sunrise.
I was going to say that what he has said in education represent the template for a big picture, which says that for this new government, because we realized that what we left behind 4 years ago literally went off track and in a completely direction to nowhere. So we are trying to bring everything back on track, and therefore the entry point for this government in terms of policy, and budgeting, policy planning and budgeting, is to conduct a new needs assessment and a mindset mapping that is being supported by our development partners to really know exactly what is the degree of damage that took place in education, in health, in infrastructure, and all the areas of government responsibility to the people. It is when we have the evidence of this departure from the norm, disenchantment and disconnection from the people, that provides the agenda for government to intervene.
Listening to both
Yes.
of you, I want to ask, is it that there's nothing good you met on ground?
Well, that will not be a fair statement.
Yeah.
Because,
from what you said so far, you
Yeah.
met decay, it's gone off track, so it sounds as if there's nothing good you met on ground.
No, I don't think that is the idea. We are a new government that was there before. We knew what we left behind. The deficit of government before we left was less than 30 billion.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's now 170. That's not good, especially if there's no corresponding development to justify that level of financial inflow into the state as loan and deficit on the part of government, which the new government and the people of Ekiti now has a burden of responsibility to pay, because government is a continuum.
Okay.
He just talked about salaries. From zero salary deficit
Yeah.
as at 2014,
October 2014.
we now have 8 months, 2 years, 3 years. That's not good. But he had a lean government.
Yeah.
He had fewer people
Yeah.
in office.
Yeah.
That's a plus for him.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that when you weigh it on the scale of balance, what we are saying is that the place we left the state is much worse than, what we are finding now is much worse than what we left behind. And that's not an accusation, it's a fact.
Okay. So the only good thing you've seen so far is that there was a lean government.
Oh, he had a lean
that
government.
was,
But in terms of the things you need to do,
Yeah.
you talked about the governor's vision, a 4-point agenda, beginning with social investment. Education is part of them. Infrastructure is another thing. Revamping the tourism sector in Ekiti is something else I think he mentioned in his speech.
Yeah.
Can we look at timelines? Are there timelines to the fulfillment of this vision of the government?
Yes. Taking off from what the senator said about what is going on now, by the time we complete our conversation with the civil servants, we are going to sit down, come to the table, look at the resources available, then we can put timelines into all this. But for now, we don't even know the state or the finances of the state. And we want to be transparent with the people. We don't want to lie to them. We want to partner with them. So by the time we conclude what we are doing, we will sit down, then we prioritize and put timelines.
Let's look at this. The governor was voted out by the people of Ekiti.
Of course.
Okay. Well, he was out of government, yes, in 2014. And the reasons given at that time were that...
Stomach infrastructure.
The reason given at that time was that he was running an elitist government.
Yes.
What's the likelihood that would change now?
Well, I don't understand your definition of elitist government.
I'm not the one that called it elitist government.
Okay.
It wasn't an all-inclusive government. The people were not part of the government.
So.
But the sharing side to that is nobody accused him of non-performance. Nobody. In every narrative that's attended our living office, nobody has ever said that Governor Fayemi did not perform. So elitism is a style, And I know that he will have embarked in self-introspection on his first time in office. So if there are areas where he thinks he needs to change, he will do that. But the capacity to perform is not in doubt. So that is just style. That's not the content. It's just the style of governance. So if people say it's elitist, it's coming from an academic background. Governor Fayemi is an extremely brilliant mind. And the academics, they have their own culture. So he has left academics for politics. He is adjusting. And for people to have voted for him again, that means that they've seen something in him. So I will take that on board. We look at the style of government.
Before he left office at that time, wasn't he owing any salaries?
The last month, October, because our allocation was stopped, we did not owe any salary. We paid till September. We left office in October, but then we had our allocation, so we hold only October salary. And we left mid-October. We never owed anybody.
The month hadn't even ended,
Yeah,
so salaries were not due.
So it was not due, so we did not owe anybody any salary.
Okay. Now the issue of tourism.
Yes.
Maybe it would fall under one of the reasons why they said he was operating an elitist. Because I know for a fact that he took the issue of Ikogosi very seriously.
That is my village.
Oh, and he did a lot there, which nobody else seemed to care about. So maybe to the people, that was not priority.